Alicorns are a complete and utter mess. And that's coming from someone who's tried to genuinely understand Alicorns. Just take one look at this old video of mine where I basically rank the Alicorns. I try to sort the Alicorns in a tier system, and the tiers was what power level they were and all this crazy stuff. If you want to go watch that Alicorn headcanon video, it's linked down in the description below, but with more new information coming out about Alicorns, this video looks more and more like crazy headcanon than actual fact. So, today I'm gonna delve even deeper into Alicorns. I'm not gonna rank them like last time, but instead I'm gonna try to explain them as non-biasedly and as straightforwardly as humanly possible. Their history, where they came from, what they are, etc. So without further ado, howdy, my name is CXCD, and let's begin. Alicorns. I mean, what the heck even are they? Simply put, they are immortal and incredibly powerful beings that usually rule Equestria. And yes, the power scaling of MLP goes freaking crazy. Alicorns are the three main tribes combined into one creature. They have a horn and they are very good at magic. They have wings and are presumably pretty good at flying. And the strength of an earth pony, which, I mean, in this comic right here, Big Mac tries to arm wrestle Celestia. Keyword is try. On top of being all three tribes, Alicorns are also incredibly long-living. It was never made exactly clear whether Alicorns are immortal or if they just live a very, very, very long time. But the fact that they never really mentioned that they get older means that people generally assume that Alicorns are immortal. So people generally assume that A, they live until they have served their purpose and then wither away like a normal pony would. Or B, they are just immortal. Alicorns also generally have very large physiques. They don't become large just overnight. It's like a growth process. That's why Twilight doesn't turn 10 feet tall when she ascends. And that Cadence is pretty young, so she also isn't very tall. But generally, they're very tall ponies. And sometimes they can have magical manes, although it might just be like a stylistic choice. Speaking of Alicorns, let's get through every Alicorn we know of right here, right now. The first Alicorn we ever see on screen is Princess Celestia. In the very first episode, she is the Princess of the Sun, ruler of Equestria, and teacher to Twilight Sparkle. Later in the two-parter, we see Nightmare Moon, who is actually just a corrupted version of Princess Luna, who is like just the exact opposite of Celestia. She is the ruler of the night and the seeker of dreams. Seeker of Dreams? Protector of Dreams. Banisher of Nightmares. Also, for some reason, in some books within the MLP universe, they have before shown in the past other Alicorns, like in illustrations, specifically talking about like love potions and love poison. Like look here, for instance, when Applebloom's looking through this book about love poison and mistakes it for a love potion. There's a theory that this pony is actually Cadence, and she just has lived a very long time, contrary to what, you know, most people think, which is she is a very young Alicorn. But anyway, sorry, it looks like I skipped over Cadence somehow while recording, so instead we're gonna do this now, post-recording. Now, this is where it gets slightly confusing, because in the Season 2 finale, another Alicorn gets introduced. This is an issue because, up until this point in the series, everyone always kinda assumed that Celestia and Luna were the oddballs. They were the exception, there isn't any other ponies like them. So Cadence appears, and she's an Alicorn who is entirely unrelated to Celestia and Luna. Does this mean there are more Alicorns out there running other nations? What does this mean? Okay, back to the video. Besides that, the next Alicorn is no pony other than Twilight Sparkle, who ascends in the Season 3 finale. She is the Princess of Friendship. Or Magic. I don't really know, actually. I think she's both. Then later, we get Flurryheart, who was born an Alicorn. We don't know what she's the princess of, but she's an Alicorn. Then, even more later, Cozy Glow goes a little crazy with magic and becomes an Alicorn, and then, like, causes havoc for a little while, right? Past that, in G5, Sunny Starcout becomes an Alicorn, and Opaline is already an Alicorn. An evil Alicorn. We've not seen that before. That is the main line of Alicorns done in the series. Now, just to be clear, there are more. Because Queen Chrysalis is technically an Alicorn. She fits the description, but she is also a different species, where everyone's an Alicorn in that species. Or at least horned and winged. So I don't think Queen Chrysalis applies. But there are also a lot of background animation errors where, for whatever reason, these ponies have both horns and wings. It's never explained. And at one point, there's even this construction worker who's literally the focus of an entire shot. But don't worry, these guys are like birth defects. I don't think they're actually like royalty. Oops, sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to punch you. So we know the what, we know the who. What about the when? The how? The how. So let's get into the history behind Alicorns. Alicorns weren't originally called Alicorns. As a matter of fact, they originally had no name. Instead, Hasbro simply referred to them as princess ponies. This didn't work for long, however, as princesses didn't need to be princess ponies. Like, for instance, Princess Amore. She's a princess, but not a princess pony. She only has a horn. You see why this is confusing and had to be changed? Do you see why? At some point, they were also referred to as winged unicorns, which was also dumb, but eventually in season 3, they were finally dubbed Alicorn. And I don't actually know where the name Alicorn came from. I don't know if that was like, I really feel like that's a fandom thing, right? I actually don't know where that name came. I'm gonna Google it real quick. Hold on. Where did the name Alicorn come from? Yeah, I have no clue. Back to the video. Eventually in season 3, they were officially dubbed Alicorns. And the reason why is because for that one season, Hasbro decided to actually care about story for once. Just only momentarily. But like I said before, Alicorns were only meant to be Celestia and Luna. That was it. There was 2 Alicorns, and nothing else. Actually, I believe originally it was only supposed to be Celestia. That was the only Alicorn. But Hasbro wanted like some kind of, girl power cartoon, right? And that's where the Elements of Harmony and Princess Luna / Nightmare Moon came from. It came from Hasbro wanting a girl power TV show. There's actually a very solid theory that Nightmare Moon and the Elements of Harmony and all that jazz was actually a relatively late addition to the script. They just quickly threw together Friendship is Magic Part 1 and Part 2 just to get out the door and to meet Hasbro's quota. That's why throughout the entirety of Season 1, they never mentioned the Elements of Harmony or Luna ever. It's only the first 2 episodes, and then they just vanish. And that would also explain why Princess Luna is voiced by the voice actor for Rarity. They just didn't have enough time to get a new voice actor. But when Season 2 rolled around, it also revealed something interesting, like I said before. Cadence. Cadence showed up in the Season 2 finale, and she was just an Alicorn. It was just never explained. So are Alicorns more numerous than we thought? Like, does every nation have an Alicorn ruler, or what's going on here? Why is Cadence here? It is important to note that Cadence wasn't actually meant to be an Alicorn. Originally, Cadence was a Pegasus, but because of Hasbro, I presume, Cadence was later changed into an Alicorn. I believe Cadence's introduction actually made the fandom kind of hate her for a while because it was like almost ruining sacred grounds, right? Everybody always knew Alicorns as Alicorns, and then Cadence rolls up. Who the hell is this person, right? I could honestly make an entire video about Cadence, and I probably will at some point, but Cadence is a very, very interesting pony. She has more mystery and theory crafting than even Celestia and Luna do. She is genuinely a very interesting character, and I will go into her at some point, but that is not today. Then Alicorns are expanded upon again in Season 3. In Season 3, Twilight is gained Alicorn status by completing a spell, although it is implied that she became an Alicorn not because of the spell, but because she genuinely deserved it. Like, if any random pony were to cast a spell, like, nothing would happen. They'd just blow up and die, maybe. I don't know. But this Season 3 is generally what most people assume Alicorns are. This is like the generally accepted headcanon of Alicornness. Alicorns aren't born, they are made. Celestia, Luna, and Cadence all used to be regular ponies, but at some point, they did something worthy enough to be ascended, to become an Alicorn. This is kind of reinforced when Flurry Heart is born. With her birth, it's reinforced that Alicorns being born isn't normal. Like, even Celestia and Luna are kind of bamboozled about it. They're like, what? How is this possible? Although the way they word it is also unusual, because the way they word it, if you look at it a certain way, almost sounds like they're surprised an Alicorn was born within Equestria. As in, Alicorns have been born before in the past, just not within Equestria. But surely they don't mean that, right? We can keep our headcanons in a straight line, right, guys? Surely they don't. Alicorns are once again changed again in the events of G5. In the movie, somehow Sunny inexplicably gains wings and horns. I guess she does it because she reunited ponykind. But they're like weird magical wings and horns. They're not physical, they're magical, which is really freaking weird. It's unclear if like Sunny was bestowed these Alicorn powers by the gods, or if like the crystals chose her. But whatever, she becomes an Alicorn. And then G5 does something really funny with its lore here. They decide to completely not just rewrite Alicorns, but destroy what we thought about Alicorns. Opaline is an evil Alicorn, and she outright says to the camera that Celestia and Luna and her were all born Alicorns, and they come from a place called Skyros. What is Skyros? Ugh. It's revealed in the G5 pitch Bible that was leaked online that Skyros is a different plane of reality. It's not like a physical place. It's like a place where like souls go, kind of, you know? Skyros is a different plane of reality, and Celestia and Luna were chosen by the Reen Alicorn, whatever that means, to go and rule Equestria. Hey, I'm bad at explaining things, so I'm gonna re-explain it in post. I think this entire segment can be expanded into its own video, but I'm gonna really quickly recap what I think Skyros is right here, right now. Skyros is the home of the Alicorns. It's not a physical place, but rather a different plane of reality where Alicorns are born. It's an entire society up there with the purpose of making new Alicorn rulers to go rule Equestria when it needs them. This is basically the closest thing Equestria has to literally heaven. And the Reen Alicorn is the closest thing to God. And what do you know? Celestia and Luna were both born up there, and they were chosen to be the new pony rulers. They're sent down to clean up what Discord did to the previous rulers, and it actually takes quite a lot of energy to make bodies for the Alicorn rulers to inhabit. So Skyros can't send down rulers every other day or anything. They can only do it once every a few thousand years. Now, you have to understand that Skyros has a little bit of a mean streak with the common pony folk. They believe ponies shouldn't be treated as equals, and Alicorns should always stay on top. Luna, however, approaches this at a quite different angle and begins treating ponies as equals. This makes Celestia and Luna get quite shoulder-rubby with one another and might be proponent of what eventually led to Nightmare Moon. Celestia, after banishing her sister, realizes that Luna was probably right and begins treating ponies as equals. Of course, there were exceptions, like Star Swirl the Bearded, who Celestia treated better. And this also kind of destroys the comics canon, which shows that Star Swirl was their teacher. But still, ignore that. Celestia decides that Skyros is wrong about common ponies, and she begins doing something radical. She begins manufacturing Alicorns. Cadence is the first trial run, and lo and behold, it works. A common pony can turn into an immortal Alicorn. Twilight is the second trial run, and to both Celestia's and Luna's shock, it turns out manufactured Alicorns can have foals. Alicorn foals. Flurry Heart. Intriguing. Meanwhile, Skyros sees what is happening and is in just shock. Celestia and Luna are raising a commoner pony to run Equestria. Now, they have nothing wrong with Alicorns. Twilight, Cadence, and Flurry Heart are all Alicorns, but they object at the process. But because they already spent their energy crafting two bodies for Celestia and Luna to inhabit, they can't intervene. That is, until hundreds of years later during Twilight's rule. They finally garner enough energy to make a body. They send Opaline down, another Alicorn who already hated Celestia and Luna, to go ruin Equestria. And it semi-works. Equestria falls apart, but Opaline is kinda left powerless from the whole ordeal. And that's where G5 pickups. Let's go back to the video now. That implies that there were Alicorns before Celestia and Luna. Celestia and Luna just happen to be the most recent Alicorns. I think I might actually make another video about this. About Opaline's motivations, and maybe even Cadence's motivations, right? Because Cadence is still a really interesting character. I mean, like, just sitting here recording this video, I also already made an entire another theory, like, while recording this video, about the way Skyros works. But that's for another day, because I'm done. Discord server is linked down below, and I will see you guys next time.